This week on Live Awake, activate your freedom. What if I told you freedom isn't a destination, not an idea or ideal or dream? It is ours, in this moment, living within each of our breaths. An opening needs to take place, and we must become the observers of all the tiny ways we remain chained in our suffering. Once we make the shift into witness, we can then more easily walk into the world of ease and enlightenment, breathing freedom with each blissful inhale. We are intended to live in freedom, yet we have a compulsive need to create suffering for ourselves by remaining fixed when we must be fluid. Perspective is everything. The words we use to describe and disseminate our experiences can often be the very material of our suffering. It is from the way we constantly look for definitions and explanations that we in fact rob ourselves from our joy and remove ourselves from the flowing movement of life. Nothing is permanent. Yet from moment to moment, we are constantly looking for the language for our external world. We are treated a certain way by our husband or child or mother or boss, and we immediately go in search of words to describe what another has made us feel. We take the ever-changing moods or actions of others and make them permanent scars in our tissues, places where we can't enjoy life. We easily forget that everything that takes form in front of us is an illusion that only becomes real if we call it so. The identification we give it is what gives it roots. Through defining and pinpointing, we give power to our illusions, and we make them concrete and fixed when they are soft and ever-changing. Words, labels, and definitions are all ways we remain stuck in our tortured minds rather than living in our hearts. We look for justification and support from others to find ways to hold on to our crippling freedom-robbing stories, and we become exhausted by life. Let's say a child lashes out at its mother, and then she begins to write, "He doesn't love me. I'm no good. He loves his father more." She takes the ever-changing moods of a child and makes them into concrete matter. She begins to weave a tangled story that pins her to the earth and takes the wind from her wings. She then swims around in these words and ideas. She feels sorry for herself and wallows in self-pity. She then goes outside and looks to others for justification and affirmation. She takes the very experience she doesn't want and gives it deep roots. She creates her own pool of suffering and then takes the support from others to make mortar. Her child is on its own personal journey, almost unconscious to hers. Love is the very bedrock of their relationship, yet that simple truth has become clouded by the mother's need to hold on to a hurt that happened however long ago, yet standing tall in the way of both her and her child's freedom. Or a husband and wife decide they don't know how to love unconditionally. They seek counseling and therapy in hopes to become free from their condition. And while they believe they are trying to solve their problem, they are in fact very busy writing a complex novel on ways not to move forward and to remain fixed in their suffering. At times, it is necessary to journey inside to examine and study a wound, so that you become aware of its home in your body. But often, all that is really required is an awareness of the first signs of a tightness or closure to the love in front of you. And then instead of traveling back to the why and the wound, we must learn to soften and surrender and choose love anyway. Always choose love instead of the story behind the wound. Love is our ultimate goal, always, and it is our choice. History and the stories we have chosen are the very things that stand in the way of our joy and freedom. The past, even just 1 minute ago, has gone, yet we remain in the woes we have so complicatedly wrote. It's easier for us sometimes to hold on to the idea that someone else is responsible for our unhappiness than to open our arms to the wide open sky and say, I don't need this pain anymore. We are afraid to let go, and instead we hold tightly to everything we wish to resolve within. What is required is an awareness of the present moment, for that is all that is truly real. All else is history tying us back from the freedom of the current moment. When we become present, we see in front of us that we are blessed with someone who is agreeing to love us. The present moment is saturated with love. Once we begin to see the other in the present moment, we can move more freely, more effortlessly with them, for in the present moment there is no history of pain and suffering. There is just another divine being journeying beside you. There's no story of struggle. There is no story, period. There is simply love. We can choose to write more about the love that we have in its perfection, or of all the ways that it is not. We must be wise and choose only in the name of love. For as soon as we do, all that does not line up with this truth will simply fall away. The sooner we can learn to stand back and watch ourselves begin to take the fluid, ever-changing moods of the weather and try and write it in stone, the sooner we can become free. After all, it's impossible to fuse the ever-changing wind into concrete form. It is no different with our lives and experiences. Breathe 3 deep and full breaths. Close your eyes and greet your body with a loving respect. With each exhale, drop any tension or worry floating about and find the peace waiting inside of you. Take a moment to recognize the wholeness of your life. See it in this moment as perfect. See, you have created every component. You are the composer. Allow yourself to let go of any stories that steal joy from you. Watch as they fall away and see how much more luminous you become. Notice how much lighter you feel. And notice the absence of that constricting energy in your body. Now smile at how easy that was. Smile at how easy it is to become free. Dance a while here on your breath, in your perfectly whole and free being. accessible always behind that which you are holding on to. Feel the bliss here and claim it for yourself as you move into your day. Remember, you are free, moving, breathing, fluid form. The only thing you must remain steadfast in remembering is the impermanence and shifting that takes place from minute to minute. Our freedom can be found here, now, in this moment, by releasing the need to name, prophesize, and write anthologies on the passing moments of our lives. For eventually, all will be forgotten and all will dissolve, and our freedom is too wondrous of a thing to wait for when it is ours to have with every breath. See that all is a mystery that we may never be able to solve. Try your best to enjoy it and write not of what cripples you, but of how you have learned to love and become free. Try and enjoy the changing weather. Move with it as it comes and goes. Rest in the sunlight and resist not the storms. For the more we try and make things fixed, the more we remain pinned in places we don't want. The more freedom remains a destination rather than our very birthright.